you're facing an act of God, which might even result in a contraction of the economy.
An act of God. That is probably the most telling statement from the government, as it contemplated not just a contraction in the economy, but an inability to meet its legal obligations to states when it comes to GST compensation. The act of God defense caused quite a bit of furore and led to further escalating tensions between the states and the centre. Finance Minister Sitharaman's explanation to a near standstill to the economy due to pandemic and resultant lockdown had caused a major shortfall in the GST compensation kitty did not go down well with the states. Nor did the fact that the government, towards the end of a long GST Council meeting on the 27th August, blindsided the state FMs with two options to make up for this shortfall. Both entailed borrowing to make up the deficit. Option 1 entailed the states borrowing directly to bridge the shortfall through a special RBI window. But the catch was that the centre would only count 97,000 crore rupees as the centre's due to states due to GST. The rest of the 1.30 lakh crore rupee shortfall was billed as losses due to COVID-19, which was not the centre's problem. The option said this borrowed amount would be repaid through future compensation cess collections and would not be counted as states' debt. Option 2 proposed that states borrowed the entire 2.35 lakh crore rupees and bear the interest burden, while the principal would be repaid from future cess collections. However, while 97,000 crore rupees would not be counted as states' debt, the rest of 1.38 lakh crores would. 20 states chose option 1. The others had apprehensions and insisted that drawing a distinction between GST-related revenue shortfall and COVID-19 induced shortfall was fallacious.
Out of the blue, it brings a new concept, new issue, that the shortfall in revenue has to be categorized in those related to COVID and those related to normal shortfall. And COVID is a godsend event for which central government or nobody can be held accountable for. Constitution doesn't make this distinction. So I objected to it very seriously and perhaps reacted a bit too angry.
Eventually, the GST Council approved increased the borrowing limit to 1.10 lakh crore rupees from the earlier 97,000 crore rupees, and on the 5th of October, extended the levy of compensation cess beyond the original June 2022 deadline to ensure the borrowing could be repaid. But there was still no consensus on how the borrowing would be effected, with states like West Bengal, Kerala, Punjab insisting that since the centre was obligated to pay states, it should do the borrowing. The centre, of course, had its arguments ready.
Centre has issued a borrowing calendar. If I go beyond that to borrow, it would immediately jack up the bond yields. The GSEC yields will go up. And if GSEC yields are the ones which are used as benchmark for every other borrowing in the country, the states going for borrowing on any other score, not just the compensation, would end up paying a very high price. The borrowing cost will go up. So will be the borrowing of even the private sector. If the GSEC rate is going to go up because I'm gone beyond my borrowing calendar, it's going to affect everybody's borrowing.
To help these arguments go down easier, the Finance Minister unveiled a special interest-free 50-year loan window for states to carry out 12,000 crore worth of capital expenditure. This worked somewhat, but it still left 10 states and union territories opposed to becoming borrowers. It looked like the centre would not budge, and so it came as a bit of surprise when, on the evening of 13th October, the government announced a special window to borrow 1.10 lakh crore rupees towards meeting GST compensation dues. It also waived the reforms condition it had previously set forth if states were to avail additional borrowing to the tune of 0.5% of GSDP. Gradually, more states came on board. On the 5th December, Jharkhand became the last state to choose an option, and with that, all states have chosen to go with option 1. In New Delhi, Timsy Jaipuria.